Once upon a time in the heart of Mecca, where Quraish was the mistress of the Arabs, and where chivalry and courage were among the highest values, in the mid-6th century AD a boy was born named Khalid ibn al Walid ibn al-Mughira al-Makhzumi. Khalid grew up in a distinguished family from Banu Makhzum, one of the clans of Quraish, renowned for its horsemanship and military leadership. His father, al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, was one of the chieftains of Quraish, which provided him with a fertile environment for the growth of his passion for horsemanship and the arts of war from an early age. From his childhood, Khalid was not like his peers. While other children played in the plains of Mecca, he spent long hours learning to ride horses, shoot arrows, and wield the sword and spear. His keen eyes caught the finest details in combat tactics, and his young mind sought to understand the secrets of military leadership. He possessed a strong physique, sharp intelligence, and rare courage, which made him an unparalleled knight in Quraish. Khalid believed that strength and determination were the keys to victory, and that a true leader was one who possessed military insight and the ability to turn the tide of battle. Therefore, he decided that his life would be a journey in the arts of war, combining individual skill with strategic planning. In the prime of his youth, Khalid emerged as one of the most prominent knights and military leaders of Quraish. He participated in several battles against the Muslims before his conversion to Islam, and he played a decisive role in the Muslim defeat at the Battle of Uhud. In that battle, after the archers disobeyed the Prophet's, peace be upon him, command and descended from the mountain to collect spoils, Khalid cleverly seized this opportunity, circling Mount Uhud with his cavalry and attacking the Muslims from the rear, which turned victory into defeat. This incident showed his military genius even before his conversion to Islam, but fate had another path in store for Khalid. After the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, Khalid's soul began to incline towards Islam. He saw in the strength and steadfastness of the Muslims, and in the character of the Prophet, peace be upon him, what he did not find in Quraish. In the 8th year of Hijrah, Khalid ibn al Walid, Amr ibn al-As, and Uthman ibn Talha decided to go to Medina and declare their conversion to Islam. This moment was a crucial turning point in his life, as he transformed from a leader fighting Islam to a leader defending it. After his conversion to Islam, Khalid ibn al Walid dedicated all his military genius to the service of Islam. His first major task was in the Battle of Mutah in Mecca. In this battle, the three commanders appointed by the Prophet, peace be upon him, Zayd ibn Haritha, Jafar ibn Abi Talib, and Abdullah ibn Rawaha, were successively martyred. The Muslims found themselves in a critical situation, facing the massive Byzantine army. Here, Khalid's leadership emerged. He took the banner, and with brilliant military acumen, he changed the positions of the army, moving the right flank to the left to the right, the vanguard to the rear, and the rear to the vanguard. This change caused confusion among the Byzantines, who thought that Muslim reinforcements had arrived. Khalid then executed an organized tactical retreat, saving the Muslim army from annihilation. This situation demonstrated his ability to lead in the most difficult circumstances and his intelligence in using psychological tactics. For this, the Prophet, peace be upon him, nicknamed him Sayf Allah al-Maslul, the drawn sword of Allah. Khalid ibn al Walid's achievements continued thereafter. He participated in the conquest of Mecca, the Battle of Hunain, and the Siege of Taif. But his most prominent achievements were in the Ridda Wars of apostasy after the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him. In these wars, which threatened the unity of the Islamic State, Khalid brilliantly led the Muslim armies and crushed the apostates and false prophets in decisive battles such as the Battle of Yamama against Musaylima al-Kadhib. In these battles, he showed superior planning and execution, and the use of innovative war tactics, which preserved the unity of the Ummah. After the Ridda Wars, Khalid ibn al Walid led his armies to Iraq to conquer Persia. There, he displayed military genius unparalleled in history. He led a series of consecutive battles against the Persians and Byzantines, achieving sweeping victories. Battle of Dat al-Salisul Chains. In this battle, he used the tactic of chaining soldiers together to increase their steadfastness, then surprised the enemy with a swift attack. Battle of Wallaha, he applied the double envelopment or pincer tactic, where he surrounded the Persian army from the front, rear, and flanks, leading to their annihilation. This tactic is considered one of the most brilliant military tactics in history. Battle of Alais, known as the River of Blood due to the large number of Persian casualties, where Khalid showed mastery in exploiting terrain and timing. Battle of Firouz, his last battle in Iraq, where he faced a coalition of Persians, Byzantines, and Christianized Arabs, and achieved a decisive victory. Khalid ibn al Walid's military tactics were characterized by speed and maneuverability. He relied on the rapid movement and maneuvering of armies to surprise the enemy. Deception and misdirection. He used deceptive tactics to confuse the enemy and distract them. Exploiting terrain. He was skilled at utilizing the natural landscape to his advantage. Inspiring leadership. He was a role model for his soldiers, fighting in the front lines and igniting their enthusiasm. Pre-planning. He did not rely on improvisation, but thoroughly studied the situation before battle. Flexibility. He was able to quickly change his plans according to the developments of the battle. After Iraq, Caliph Abu Bakr al-Siddiq ordered him to proceed to the Levant to assist the Muslim armies there in confronting the Byzantines. Khalid led the armies in decisive battles such as Marj al-Safar, Damascus, Fall, and Baisan. But the pinnacle of his achievements was in the Battle of Yarmouk in 15 Battle of Yarmouk. This battle is considered one of the greatest decisive battles in Islamic history. Army organization. He divided the army into small units, each led by a commander, which gave him great flexibility in maneuvering. Hit and run tactics. He used these tactics to wear down the large Byzantine army. Unity of ranks. He maintained the cohesion of the Muslim army despite the significant numerical difference. Cavalry maneuvers. He skillfully used cavalry to attack the Byzantine flanks, changing the course of the battle. Exploiting the valley. He trapped the Byzantines in the Yarmouk valley, putting them in a difficult position. The Muslims achieved a crushing victory at Yarmouk, which opened the way for the complete conquest of the Levant. Despite all these victories, the human side of Khalid ibn al Walid's life was prominent. He was a devout, humble man who loved Allah and His Messenger and prioritized obedience to Allah above all else. When Umar ibn al-Khattab assumed the caliphate, he relieved Khalid ibn al Walid from army command and appointed Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah in his place. This decision was difficult for Khalid, who was at the peak of his victories, but he accepted it with a spirit of faith and contentment, saying his famous quote, "I do not fight for Umar, but I fight for Allah." This demonstrates his sincerity to Allah alone, and his lack of pursuit of positions or fame. Khalid ibn al Walid lived the rest of his life in Homs in the Levant, away from leading armies, but he never stopped giving advice and contributing. He was known for his generosity and love for the poor. When death approached him, he was on his sickbed and wished to die a martyr in the path of Allah, but he did not die in battle. He said his famous quote on his deathbed, "I have witnessed so many battles, and there is no space of a hand's span on my body, but has a sword blow a spear thrust, or an arrow shot, and here I am dying on my bed like a camel dies. May the eyes of cowards never sleep." These words show his love for jihad and his courage that stayed with him until the last moment of his life. Khalid ibn al Walid died in Homs in 640 AD and was buried there. The drawn sword of Allah departed in body, but his military spirit and his imprint on Islamic history remained alive, igniting the enthusiasm of generations. His story, the story of a human being who transformed from a bitter enemy of Islam into one of its greatest commanders, the story of a leader who was never defeated in battle and who left a legacy of military tactics that are studied to this day. The story of Khalid ibn al Walid teaches us that sincere faith can transform a person from one extreme to another, and that determination and perseverance are the keys to achieving the impossible. It reminds us that true leadership lies not in position, but in the ability to inspire people and achieve victory even in the most difficult circumstances. Khalid ibn al Walid was a model of the brilliant military leader who combined courage and faith, and left an indelible mark on the history of human civilization. Let generations be inspired by the story of this great commander, and let them follow his courage and sincerity. And let them know that true victory is the victory of the spirit over despair, and that knowledge is the light that illuminates the paths of darkness and reveals the secrets of leadership and triumph.